Hello, I am crowned. Your, well, you could call me, what would be the accurate term? Educator? Provider of knowledge, information, the fallen angel of the router god, here to provide the forbidden information, casting you aside into, well, the endless stream of eviction PvP. Yes, I am here. I'm here to provide the information on how you can play eviction. And you may be asking, what is eviction? Well, eviction is a chaotic, unpredictable, very highly skilled, sweaty server you'll find in mindustry. Yes, one of the most competitive you'll find, along with rank. And with rank and eviction, I solely will show you eviction. Rank is another topic I'll probably reach in the near future. Not now, not the next week, not even the next month, maybe the next month, but who knows. But yes, how do we play eviction? How do I get better? How do I play the game? In this case, the long days of V7 are long gone. The videos that you have seen may not portray or in fact show the accurate info that you will need for V8. Although some of the info provided will be useful still. Why? Well, the relevance is still in, well, the environment you find yourself. The copper, the lead, the thorium, the titanium, the coal, the sand you find, the scrap you see, and the land has, well, not changed much. The terrain itself has very far shifted into much more of a ring. No longer the sublime hex you will find in the video, no longer the same thing in the same day, no longer the, well, sorry. My throat rather hurts from a bit of excessive vocal interaction. But yes, I am here to educate you. Pass the forbidden information. And yes, the hexes you see now are not there. Let's move on to the place of birth of the new era V8 eviction. The current eviction. Your ring that you'll be playing in. Well, not for me. I currently died for some unforeseen reason. But yes, let us look at this one. This is a scrap. And here's not what you should be doing. You should not be using laser drills just to use on copper. Laser drills have their value. Currently not for copper. And for seeing, the one thing he's doing right is mainly feeding this graph with a bit of undercounted amount of mechanical drills. Let's move on. I do not want to see the sad scene of him trying to build whatever he's trying to make. And going forward, this is what you shouldn't be doing. If you are new, and if you really plan to play competitive, do not do this. Please. There are so many better ways you could play the game and build your way up. And going forward, let us start. Your resources. The very resource you'll start. The titanium, which is the blue resource you see here. The thorium, the copper, the lead, the coal, the sand, the very area you play and build in. And keep in mind when you make any placement with a sort of skim, which is a planned out schematic that is pre-built, pre-saved, and fucking hell. Why do I have to screw myself with these voice cracks? Yes, a schematic is a old saved and stored into your folder, which is very useful when you want to get started and when you want something pre-planned and pre-put out. Yes, a silicone smelter. This schematic is already fed with, well, sand. And what you really need is a bit of just of a laser drill, and hook it up with 2 mechanical drills, add a bit of a steam gen, which is this, and connect it, and voila, once I get this up and running, we will see for ourselves. Oh yes, make sure to add a connection to water when it comes to steam gen. And now that that is running, I no longer need this. And yes, your priority should really be on silicone. After all, you are probably already feeding a factory when you start an eviction. You have the mono factory. He doesn't have it activated, which is kinda sad considering they are your pillar stones to whenever you build yourself up. How? Why? Well, lead and copper. They provide those 2 simple resources that are mainly found in everything you build. Everything you build, make, as well as create will use copper and lead. Keep that in mind. Monos are the very things you want. So in fact, keep them safe, protect them, keep an eye out for any flank attacks going for your monos. They are your backbone. You lose them, you might lose the game. And sadly there are sadly there's nothing that could probably save you if you're barely beginning, considering there are players that still are around, per se. Different skill gaps. Well, we won't get into that now, but yes. Get your schematic. The first thing you want to do, silicone, as I've said. And now you will likely go for graph. And why graph? Well, graph only needs to be fed with coal, going forward into a graphite press. Remember, they use lead and copper. Your monos provide lead and copper. And use conveyors to pave the way for resources to go into the core. That way you have access to a phenomatic drill. These phenomatic drills provide you titanium. You cannot use mechanical drills. Mechanical drills can only provide, well, sand, copper, and lead and coal. Very 4 resources, as well as scrap, which you won't be using unless you're feeding it to scatters, of course. After all, it is unforeseen that a player actually uses scrap. I've never seen a player that uses scrap to make his resources, but it will be funny if I do. So yes, a mechanical drill. You will place them down, and going into the core, that will help you access the higher form of a mechanical drill, a laser drill. And of course, a laser drill can get you thorium. And why is this good? Well, thorium can get you the higher form of an ab, a bigger drill. You get what I'm saying? You get a mechanical drill. You build into a phenomatic drill. An upgrade, yes, but still not completely good on its own. So you boost it with water. That way it is so much better than, well, it just being itself and unboosted. Not much value in that. So yes, mechanical drill, you get some of that in. Oh yes, I forgot to mention. Keep in mind, your graphite can also help you make glass. Why is glass important? Glass helps you make power, provide for units that you will probably make in the near future, which are tier 3. What are tier 3? Well, Jimbo, tier 3 are basically just upgraded units, just like how you upgrade your drills. You get into laser drills once you're out of pneumatics. So mechanical, pneumatic, laser drill, then the ab. Sorry, not that one. Yes, the bigger drill. And hell, you feed. To make glass, you simply provide lead and sand. And along the way, you also need power to provide for the majority of your factories. After all, factories eat power and resources. Of course, that is if you're doing leech, which is the unloaders, the big scams that uses unloaders. So yes, currently these are off-core schematics meant for the beginning of your game. It is unforeseen that if you use a leech in your early game, you might not last. So glass is entering. I'm receiving glass. Fantastic. What do I do afterwards? Well, I need to expand. I have nothing to expand to. I have nothing to use to expand. Well, here comes the tier 1. What is that? It's a unit factory. Wow. How do I make daggers? Well, to make a dagger, all you need is simply put silicone and lead. Silicone and lead. Going forward, you cannot build from here on out, because remember, monos are needed, and if you don't have monos, this is what happens. You get to 0, you cannot build, you cannot defend, you cannot even go in the offense. That is why copper is so valuable. That's why lead is also valuable. And we have this, the player unit. The player unit can also mine copper and lead, as well as sand and coal. That's if you are in your higher form of a player unit, which is a gamma, I believe. So yes, once we make our dagger factory, we expand. We choose which ring you want to expand, or I want to expand, or anyone that plays the game. So ideally, when you look at your rings, you want to scout them out. You do not just want to pick any random ring that's really around you. You want to look at them. What makes a ring really good is the eco they have inside. Well, look at this. There's water. There's coal and titanium next to each other. There's even thorium. Fantastic. We aim for those rings, especially if they have oil. Well, what do you use oil for? In this case, a plastanium maker or compressor, whatever you call it. I don't care. A plastanium compressor, which could give you, well, plastanium. Currently, we don't have access to that. A plastanium is this. Well, what does plastanium provide? Plastanium can provide a higher form of factory called a crucible. which is this, as well as I believe to be yes, just the Crucible, I guess. They also provide better defense. They also provide bigger units you can build, which is merely tier 4. And tier 4 are very valuable considering they are units that can take a hit. They can also do a bunch of crazy crap, not knowing what they are. But for example, a Vela. What is a Vela? Vela is a tier 4 unit that could fly, make beams of destruction, and take the very thing you hold. Your eco, your defense, your livelihood, and the very, very lifeline of your eco, which is primarily your power, as well as whatever drill provides anything. And going forward, once this whole match is over, I will give you a example of what you should do. Your build order. What's a build order? Well, the direction you go into building anything. And by anything, I just mean the factories, the drills, the etc. of what you will probably use to get faster at building anything. And sadly for this scrap, I will be tearing apart his eco and his heart and his love for the game, and hopefully he never comes back and plays on this server. I'm just kidding. You know, perhaps I shouldn't. Perhaps I shouldn't. Anyway. I will likely make the next video tomorrow about mainly the build order. Highly likely. Well, hopefully I will see you tomorrow and we get to have a bit of a one-to-one chat on how to really get started on eviction, because all I've really shown you today was mainly your factories, your drills, the way it goes, the way you build up for a beginner mainly. Someone who hasn't touched the game, someone who has never seen Mindy, someone who has never even played an hour, a minute, a second, or a millisecond. So yes, tomorrow I will provide you more in such many ways that come.